Jim Tomsula made the right decision. You need to know that. He first made the right decision by when I told him I was recommending him to be the head coach of the Rhein Fire, after they told me sitting out here on the last day before the game, or the last practice day, that they weren't going to consider me because we knew the job was opening, that they didn't think it was right since we've been in a championship game for 2 years in a row, that I said, you need to consider Jim Tomsula. He'll do a great job for you. But Jim made the right decision because he's only 35 or 36 or 30. He's younger than all my kids, I know that. Maybe not my youngest one. But, so this is a great professional move for him. I got a call from Tomsula, a call from Mike Chan, and a call from Sammy Schmala. All quick. Tomsula telling me that he's going to the 49ers and I ought to go over to replace him with the Rhein Fire. Mike Chan to get a conference call going. Mike Chan is the director of the league in New York, telling us, the coaches, that Jim was hired by the 49ers and we're all excited about it, and they would start to start a search along with the people here in Europe. And then Tomsula is on the phone and he's telling me, make sure you apply for that job. So when Sammy got on, he said, Coach Lantz, and you probably don't know it, but German voices on the phone sound very guttural. And I'm wondering, who the hell am I talking to? And he said, would you be interested in coming to the Rhein Fire? And I said, yes. And we talked about it for a little bit and why I thought it was important and why I think this team is the place for me to be. And we exchanged some information about that. And the next day, Sammy called me again, and my wife stuck her head into the den and said, who are you talking to? I said, Sammy, tell him we want to come. I'm going to coach here as long as the people in the league want me, and as long as my bosses here want me, and as long as I feel good and my wife feels good. And I will tell you this, I'm in better shape than I've been in the last 35 years. I can tell you where we are right now. The league this year did something that I think is going to be exciting for a lot of people. They have limited the number of allocated players that each team can assign. Before, they had a minimum that they had to assign 3, allocate 3 people to the league, but they could allocate as many as they wanted, and sometimes they would do that so that they could have fresh legs in camp, that they had no intention of having all of those guys make their team. I think this. I was assigned to go to the Colts camp and the Cincinnati Bengals camp this year. What they do, they send one coach to each, one NFL Europa coach to each camp, and we do a minimal write-up on the younger players. And we don't have to write up a fellow if he's a first-round draft choice or something. We figure he's good enough to come here without a write-up. But we write up all these guys. And, so I have to make a write-up of all those folks. A bunch of those people did not make a team, but they were pretty darn good football players. They're going to be, not that we have to wait now to see if a club is going to allocate those guys. Some of them are free agents. And we're going to have a really valid chance of keeping those guys. And so I think there may be better, a little better caliber all over. I don't know, the quarterbacks I'm seeing this year, I don't see anybody like I had my first year, where I had 3 quarterbacks who were all really good football players. None of them were any good until they came with me. I want you to know that. And I coach defense. So I'm seeing that. I'm also the people like Bill Pullian, who you've all heard a lot about Bill Pullian these last few days because he's the president and general manager of the Colts. And, you know, he built that team into something special. And he wanted the quality of coaching to be leveled off, where it was good coaching all the time, and just having one or two coaches we're trying to bring along, younger coaches. So we're going to have veteran coaches along with a couple of young guys, because we want to bring in some young guys and make, you know, build our, and get guys and have them around people like my staff that we're going to be with, you're going to see. So I think those things are happening, and I think those are extremely positive for the league. I don't have everybody in, you know, I've spent an awful lot of time looking at all the linebackers who they've been sending me, you know, because that's my specialty. So I have looked at an awful lot of the linebackers so I could write up reports on some of these people who have not been in the league and things. There are a few players who I remember seeing, and I get all that information every Friday, and I send it out to my coaches so that they could look at things. And our quarterback coach has been looking at, you know, doing some research on it. But we haven't started to compare notes. I'll be surprised if we don't see a couple pretty good quarterbacks come on here shortly. You know, from league teams who want to get them over there and really see them under a year of competition. So I'm expecting that to jump up and change in the next few days. All their allocations have to be in by next Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday of next week. So I'll know a lot more about it then.